Back in 2019, we conducted a survey of over 1,600 sworn law enforcement officers across the country that we were training. Did it anonymously, and this is from folks that have been on for 2-3 years, those that have been on for 32 years. And what we found that was so striking is one of the clear takeaways that we saw was that a majority, well over 50%, of the men and women that took this survey indicated that agency reputation, the professional reputation, the prestige of a law enforcement agency was what drew them to that department. So the question isn't just, should you want to be a cop? Do you want to be a police officer? Do you want to be in law enforcement? The question is, do you want to be a cop in this community, this department, that department? So we have to look at what are we doing right, among other things. Oftentimes, really good agencies fall into this trap where they only ask people, what do you like about working here? What do you not like about working here? What could we do better? Where are we failing? When do we have that conversation? The exit interview. And now that I'm already halfway out the door, you sit me down, maybe for the first time in years, maybe for the first time ever, asking, so Matt, what do we do wrong? What could we have done better? Why is it that we do exit interviews, but we don't do retention surveys? We have conversations about why you're leaving when it's too late. Now, how is that relevant to recruiting and hiring? Well, we've got to find out what we're doing right. It can't just be a moan and groan session, can't just be a gripe session. We've got to figure out what are we doing right. But all of the trend lines that we're seeing when we talk about the prospect of bringing on men and women who are mentally, physically, psychologically fit to do the job that you do every day, that applicant pool is getting smaller and smaller. The trend lines are not moving in the right direction when we talk about mental health. They're not moving in the right direction when we talk about physical health, when we talk about criminal issues, that we are going to see a drop-off in terms of qualified applicants profession-wide. Now I'll give you a dose of optimism. I am very optimistic that the agencies that maintain standards in backgrounds, in hiring, in the field training programs, those agencies, I think, ultimately are going to see that they may have to short-term sacrifice quantity for quality of personnel. But ultimately, I really believe that they're going to see both quality and quantity. And I believe that we're starting to see it quietly in agencies across this country. As I travel around the country and I talk to people, as I have for over a decade, what I hear is, at first it was really painful. It was painful to look at those 15 vacancies, to look at those 50 vacancies or 100 vacancies, whatever it might be, depending on the size of the agency. That was no kind of fun. And explaining that to local elected officials, explaining that to community members, no. But what we weren't going to do was hire problems. We weren't going to hire people that were going to create more problems than they were going to help us solve. And we held steady, we maintained our prestige, we maintained our reputation, we maintained our integrity. And the word of mouth that came as a result of us maintaining that integrity, people recognizing what right looks like, those that are drawn to law enforcement, those that are already in law enforcement in this era of free agency that we're seeing when we talk about lateral hiring, that has served agencies well, and I believe that it will continue to serve agencies well. When we sit here 10 years from now and we talk about the agencies that are the success stories, how did they weather the 20s, right? How did they weather the 2020s in terms of the shortages and all the other issues? I firmly believe it's going to be the agencies not that got rid of standards, not that went lowest common denominator, but said we now more than ever are going to hold steady to the standards that we expect in terms of integrity, in terms of competency, in terms of mental and physical well-being. These are the folks that we need out there. But if I'm speaking to you and you're a chief, you're a sheriff, you're a sergeant who's been tasked with recruiting the next generation of law enforcement officers, you have to focus on what is it about your agency that sets you apart? How is it that you work to make your agency the exception to the rule? That needs to be the question.